before talking about the detail, I would like to introduce myself first. I'm Emma. I'm an open source developer. I do a lot of different kind of projects from embedded Linux to video streaming, computer vision, and to something like web and mobile and web development, desktop development tools. And in this recent year, I make a lot of contributions to a technology called QT. I create a lot of project tools, and then as a reward for my contribution, they granted me a title of community champion for this over 2 years. So what is QT? In fact, QT is a cross-platform SDK, not only for Java. It could work on Windows, Mac, Linux, and also Android, iOS. These are both developed for end users. It could also work for Internet of Things and other devices. People now they are trying to get QT work for them too. And the QT computer company they have created a tools for the previous period for you to create a QT application. So that it is a kind of SDK that is do almost everything beside implementable. We try to make it work for them, so it's not quite good. And if you're a Linux developer or user, you probably know that the more popular GUI in Linux is GDK and Qt. You could find a lot of debate between two kinds of framework over the internet, and you could also find a lot of debate about C to C++ too. But in fact, Qt is not only using C and C++ development; it could also use for JavaScript and Python for the development. But people probably don't know that the first year of publish of Qt is same as JavaScript. The age totally is the same. It's very interesting. But at this moment, around year of 2000, both of the solution isn't very powerful yet. For example, the JavaScript. What people usually use is just to handling inline event callback, like handling the form verification or just doing some simple checking or some simple interactive effect. Why? Because at this moment, the mainstream technology is server-side rendering, and people are still using table for layout. So everything about content, providing content, is the duty of the server side. And the most popular choice of CGI at this moment is PAL. PHP is growing, but still not very popular yet at this moment. And of course, you could not find anything like Node.js at this moment. So in 2000, at the same time, Qt has created its 3.0 version. It's not only used for desktop development, it could also use for embedded device. It comes with a user interface designer tools. In fact, this kind of tools allow you to create user interface by drag and drop. It's very popular for desktop, but it's quite rare in web development. So Microsoft having this kind of tools for over 10 years already at this moment. So about 2000, Qt have created a standard which is comparable with Microsoft. So in around year 2000, web and desktop development are completely different. The tools and then the experience will be is different, skill set, no matter what. But as more people is getting connected by the internet, the demands of a more powerful web is needed. So people trying to make it more powerful. For example, Google, they make a tool called a Google Web Toolkit, where you allow you to compile Java into JavaScript. At this moment, it's a very interesting feature because many people, they just hate JavaScript. They think that JavaScript is very terrible to write and very difficult to write for large application. You don't even find an import statement at this moment. You could only import JavaScript by HTML. The people, they prefer to include another source by JavaScript, but it's not possible at this moment. So in the same year, JQ will come out. I would say many people, they would think that JQ had already invented the JavaScript because at this moment, the function of JavaScript is just too limited. And finally, people finding a way to make finding a way to writing a JavaScript application. They found that JavaScript is more powerful than expected. So people are trying to make more framework about JavaScript. As you could see, no matter is the past, present, and future, there's more JavaScript frameworks coming out. Yeah, JQV is not
It's not in. It has reinvented the JavaScript, but it's not enough. People make a lot of different kind of things. Low import statement. Then people make a library called require.js. The developer, they don't just wait for the browser to support the latest feature. They create their own tools to overcome all the problems they have. So therefore, they make a lot of different kind of tools it's making. In the similar time, Nokia acquired Qt from Chotec and changed the license from GPL to LGPL. That means people could use Qt to write commercial software without paying any money. Sorry. Yep. So it made a big change to the community of Qt. And moreover, due to the support of Nokia, Qt started a new project. They want to create a new programming language called QML. Probably they have referred to HTML as an example. It's based on JavaScript with a declarative syntax to declare user interface. First, I show you a demonstration. Sorry. That is okay. That is a UI component made by QML. You could see that there's some program code there, and this is based on JavaScript. I could run it by external viewer. That is a QML to showing a code here. It is already running. Yeah, and I could modify it. Oh, the screen is a bit difficult. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, I just type here. For example, I could configure the animation. Okay, well, I would like to try to make the scaling from 1 to 3, and the loop count is infinity. Okay, then I save it. What will happen? Sorry, is this not working? Why? Okay. I'm sorry. Type. This live demonstration is always have some problem. Yeah. Yeah, I'm reaching. Then property scaling. Why is not working? No, it's working. If it's not working, it will come in syntax error. Okay, I'm sorry. There's some problem I could not demonstrate. So, okay, back to slide first. Yeah. So at this moment, there's a slogan from Qt. They have a story saying that I'm a programmer, I'm a designer. They show that how a designer could code the QML by their own. Therefore, that means that you could have a faster way for software development because everything it could be previewed immediately, even without compiling the software. So when come to the 2010, web and desktop development are getting closer because the JavaScript is also many of them they do compilable JavaScript. They have something like another way for the import statement. Yeah, but they have a common challenge. What's that? It's the MVC. It is a concept you must learn to write GUI application. Instead of having a monster class to have everything inside, you should break down your program into smaller pieces. For example, you should have a view component for rendering the UI, a model component to providing the data, And controller is interact between wheel and model to make them collaborative. So that therefore you can have a better code architecture and easier to maintenance. However, in fact, MVC is not really a design pattern. Many people say that MVC is a design pattern, but sorry, it's not. Why? Because it has different idea and different kind of implementation method behind the idea. It don't even have a solid way of programming API suggested for you to implement the MVC. So MVC is just a concept, a principle, but not a design principle. Let's take example. The MVC we are mentioning now, in fact, is not the original idea. The idea is different. Currently, when we're talking about MVC, the controller is the bridge between wheel and model. But the original idea is not. I call it the model 1 in the left. That's the original proposal of MVC. The controller handle the user input and then manipulate the model, and the model will update the wheel. That is different in the model 2. But now people usually they just talk about model 2, will not mention model 1 anymore. I would say that when you're talking about MVC framework, there are two kinds of MVC framework. The first one is that you have an explicitly declared controller. You will have a function say set controller for something. The relation between wheel and controller is one mapping. Many framework they claim they are MVC because they have this kind of API. But in fact, more MVC framework, they don't have a class called a controller. Instead, what controller is? They install an adapter between wheel and model. They listen from the wheel and listen from the model and then providing the data. What controller is just installing the adapter between them. I think it's more popular way at this way now. But MVC could not solve every problem because it don't have a solid way, a solid suggestion for your solution. So people, they try to invent more kind of solution. For example, model wheel model, MVVM. It is a solution suggested by Microsoft to use with their framework. They paste, instead of MVC, they replace a controller by a component called wheel model. Wheel model, it reads data from the model and then pass the data to the wheel. It will transform into the data read by the wheel because usually the data model could be very large, but your wheel only show part of the data. So that it will do a filter or conversion to fit for the wheel. And then the wheel will get the data, full data binding, and once they got a user event, they will send the command to wheel model, and then the wheel model will update the models. It is a much better solution, I would say that. And many frameworks, they already implement this kind of solution. For example, AngularJS, a popular framework in JavaScript. It claims that it is a MVC framework, but in fact, the controller in Angular is just a wheel model. It don't have any different than a wheel model. Yeah, so it is a very popular choice, and Qt work with this kind of solution very well. But there are a problem of MVC. It's about the event flow. For example, it's not rare to find that when you got a user event from wheel, you need to update servo model, and the update of model will trigger the update on another model and trigger the update for another wheel. Yeah, the flow is very complicated. It's just like playing a game of pong that you hit the ball and then the ball will come back later. And the code checking is very terrible. Yeah, because they will have, yeah. Let's show an example. Okay, let's say you have in a game you have a cat. Somebody want to cut off the leg, and then they try to call the remove function from the leg wheel. Here, but a leg cannot remove itself because it's owned by the body. So what could you do? Hey cat, please remove your leg. Yeah, okay. Because the programming, they will obey your order. So they will try to, you need to emit a signal called a remove request, and then the body will try to call the remove leg function. It's quite common. And then on the same time, probably you emit another version is the leg remove done, but it's not finished. Maybe other thing that if you remove the leg, the cat should meow. There's some response to that. And then it may have another action is called when you have the mail signal, the owner should come to pet it, no matter what is happening to the cat. So as you could see that in traditional MVC, the signal propagation could be far away from the source to the final receiver. In the example, the signal is sent as a photon here and come along. So when you're training a bug, usually you need to accord several components to make sure that everything working. Otherwise, you will book something. Yeah. So it's very troublesome in MVC. So in 2015, Facebook reacted a framework called VS. On the same time, they proposed a new architecture called the Flux. For me, in fact, the Flux is not really a new idea. They have a architecture design called the CQRS, which is mentioned for many years already. I can't remember which year it's raised up. In the Flux architecture, it proposes a few components. For example, they have a real component here. It is exactly the same as the MVC. It just renders the data. And they have a store, which is similar to the model. But the controller is replaced by action and dispatcher. The model is similar to the MVC model, but there's some difference here. First of all, it is read-only from the wheel. In traditional MVVM or MVC, the model could be updated by the wheel directly, but in Flux framework, it's not allowed. What you could do is sending an action. The action is in fact a message telling that what I want to do in more like a command, the command in CQRS, and then it will send through the dispatcher. And then dispatcher will tell store, hey, somebody want to update you or ask you to update. So therefore, the update, the query and update are separated. It is very important concept about Flux. Because when people talking about Flux, it just tells you that if you use Flux, the event flow is unidirectional. You always from the wheel, action, dispatcher, store, and then come back to wheel in a single way. But MVC is not. But if you just tell people, the Flux framework can achieve this, so many people, they won't understand. So I prefer to talking about queries and update separation. It is more easy to explain about the idea. So when I learned about this framework, I have an idea come up. Is this suitable for desktop application development? So firstly, I try to clone the API. I just clone the API of the official Flux project, and then I try to share my experience on the internet and telling people, hey, can it solve your problem? Can it make your architecture more simple, more easy to use? However, the official Flux implementation is just too simple. It only solved a few problems. It couldn't solve all the problems. So I need a more advanced architecture in order to solve all the problems. But the problem is that I don't know which implementation I should follow. When you're surfing about Flux implementation on the internet, maybe over 20 or even more architecture, you could find that. And each architecture, they solve different problems. So at that moment, I have a hard time is that which architecture should I follow to implement? That's really it's a hard problem for me. So I just learn the problem and then just create my own solution. So, and then in the year of 2016, I have the first version released up. And so instantly I got a lot of question and query about the solution. The first question is, can I use React in Qt? Many people ask about the question, but I would say, I'm sorry. The concept of React and Qt is totally different. It's just like asking, can I use React in AngularJS? That is the same, because the concept of React is quite different than other solution using MVVM solution. Yeah. And then the second inquiry is that, can I use Redux? Redux is a modified Flux architecture. In fact, I would say that the concept of Redux is more complicated than the Flux itself. So I will be very difficult to explain the whole idea here. So I just briefly explain about this architecture. Basically, it's used something called a Reduxer to update the model. And the Reduxer is a pure function. It is an important concept because in object-oriented programming, we usually don't emphasize anything called a pure function. A pure function always returns the same output for a same set of input. That means it don't have anything that will make random behavior. It always you give the same input, it always give the same output. So therefore, it could not do anything like a random value or asynchronous I/O. For example, reading a file cannot be made as a pure function because reading a file may not always return the same content of the file, and sometimes it may come error. The behavior is not deterministic. And they also introduced a new component called middleware to handle, because a pure function cannot do anything like file I/O or randomized string. So they make a new component called the middleware to handle it specially. So I tried to port it to Qt tools and share my experience on that. The result is quite good because it solved another problem about the asynchronous I/O stuff. But finally, after I make Flux and Redux architecture, I give up on further development about the Redux part because the Redux function is really a functional programming concept and a little bit difficult to implement. In fact, when you're looking for the article of Redux, people will say that for small project, Redux is overkill solution. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Still, I couldn't have something come out. So 1 year later, I make a new version of my first implementation called QuickFlux, and I have integrated the idea from Redux. First of all, I have middleware. The middleware is only for the file I/O, like camera, dialog, and anything file, and the store become a pure component. That means that it don't call any random stuff. It's pure and deterministic. So finally, I got an almost perfect software architecture for my desktop environment. I'm really happy about that. And why I think it's really good, the first one is that it has a perfect separation of real and logic. Because the real component, it don't have any dependency about application logic or system component. It gives data and render it. It's a perfect form of a real component. It only depends on store and action, and only send action on user request. So therefore, the development could be faster. Let me show you another example. I wish this one will have problem. The screen is a little small to screen. It is a UI the UI kit in a very simple application. It takes a batch of photo and then to resize it, but it has a lot of UI component. And the component here is interletable. I make a gallery of all the UI of this application by real data. Yeah, it gather all the component here because when you're using a GUI application, usually you have a lot of dependency between different kind of component. It's quite difficult to be decoupled. But in this application, everything is decoupled and works alone. I could make this preview. Yeah. Any more I could do? I'm sorry, a bit more. It's some interactive effect here. Yeah. Another benefit I have is the application logic. It is safer installed. It is pure and deterministic. Everything is. So it is decoupled from the system component. Because when you are making when you are making desktop application, sometimes you may need some special API from third party. For example, if you have experience in making video player, you know that usually the video decoder provided by Render is extremely difficult to use. Yeah, and then may have some license management. Therefore, if you want to set a development environment to compile everything, it's very terrible and very difficult to do so. You may spend 1 or 2 days to just get the SDK working. But in this architecture, the application logic is decoupled from the system component. I don't need to make anything related to the video payout and anything else. So the development could be faster. And I don't need a mock object for writing text. Mock object is usually quite hard to make in many situations because you need to simulate a working software where the behavior is exactly the same. People spend a lot of time in writing a mock object, but in this framework, I don't really need a mock object here because everything is decoupled. And therefore, I make a very fast time in development. After I released the software, I got another inquiry asking, can you help me to port my application to use your QuickFlux? It's funny, so how much you will pay? I really asked about this question, and the pay is quite good, I will say about it. Yeah. So when many people they ask, can I earn money from open source project? Sure. Maybe you are not selling the software, but selling a support or a mentorship service is quite profitable. I have already handled a few cases already. Yeah, so for me, it's quite good, I think. Okay, that's all I want to present. Any question?
And I have a question about the use of the traditional Qt, because I've heard that Qt there was a is it true that Qt has a HTML5 front end that I can use to directly port the old desktop application to the web browser?
They have a component called a web engine. Probably really nice. It's something I could work something similar like to the Electron or the Chromium version. Yeah. So the answer I would say yes, but you need to have make your own installer.
And the problem is that, for example, if I have a Qt application, like a KDE application already working on the Linux system and Windows system, and then is it possible to directly compile it to target the web browser platform?
Web browser platform. Also, if you want to run your application on the browser, you mean run the Qt application on browser?
Yes.
They are starting a new project called WebAssembly. WebAssembly port. WebAssembly is a technology for you to compile C or C++ or any language code into a binary format where browser could be understand. So Qt, they have a technical preview for the WebAssembly port already. So probably at this moment, I could see a lot of example here already. Yeah, but I'm not sure if you have is KDE working on that yet, but I think you could wait until the official release. It's quite amazing and promising, I think. Okay, any more questions? I'm noting the demonstration. Okay, no more questions, and thank you. Where's that? Oh.